Miss Smart Muses. Welcome to Miss Smart Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Today we're going to talk about something that makes me very happy and made me cry a whole bunch because I cried the whole time I was there. It was very embarrassing, but I didn't care because everyone else was bawling too. And it is Omaha Beach in Normandy. So that is where Teresa is traveling to today. I told you we'd end up in France, and by golly, we did. Joining me all the way from the future, someone that is relatively near Normandy, or certainly closer than I am, it is the one, the only, the Viking himself, Steve Kenobi.
Hello.
Hello. How's the future?
Uh, Sun's coming up.
No? So I guess the sun will come out tomorrow. Um, every time I think of Normandy and Vikings, I'm thinking that's where the shagging happened. Oh gosh, that was the wrong button. Um, when one of my ancestors 1,000 years ago got shagged by a Viking in Normandy.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yes, you're completely innocent. One of your ancestors, but it happened. People shagged.
Yeah, you're not getting reparations.
Darn it! Well, I'll just get over it then. Well, I get chocolate from you, so I mean, come on, that's better than reparations. Um, Eventually, yeah, and I always put it in the freezer so it'll last longer. It's like eat a little square and all that. But Omaha Beach, and of course that's not the real name of it. That was part of the code names that they had for the landing. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight into my photographs. Let me press share screen and boom. Oh, whoops. First of all, I'd like to get us oriented. Here we are heading to France. In case you're wondering where France is, it is where the big red arrow is in France, and it's outlined in red. Southeast of Ireland, and it's. I wasn't too far off when I said it was almost just north, because you can just like take a boat and just come on down. Hypothetically.
Imagine being the sort of twat that can't find France on the map, though.
Well, I help people out, all right? I remember I'm an educator. It's my instincts. But yeah, that would I didn't even think about it that way. Um and many people had their first trip to France the hard way, including the brave men that landed at Normandy. My grandfather was one of them. However, he was not there on D-Day. He was there about a month after. It's one hell of a way to see France in a literal sense. Now, if I'm correct, you have never been to France. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, never seen the beaches. Okay, I'm of the opinion if someone can, they really should. They really should try to be there, because nothing really beats being present um, in there. And let me see. Oops, I need to go. Boom. Okay, I'm helping y'all out here. So here's France, and there's Normandy. It's a region of France. That is. So when we say Normandy, it's not like a beach. It's not a place. I think sometimes
It's near where Asterix lives.
That's right, it is. We love Asterix here at Miss Martin Muses. Asterix is awesome. And boom, there it is, narrowed in. And I don't know why the map has an umbrella or something on there. Okay, so
yeah, I'm sure they didn't land with an umbrella.
No, they certainly did not. And you can see Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer, there's a golf, I guess a golf course, Ursamer. Those are the real names of these places in Surmer. That means by the beach. I didn't put the map out far enough to show that it's Bayeux, which is the largest city closest to Omaha Beach. So if you want to go visit, you go to Bayeux, and I will be doing that separately. The people that lived in these areas, it wasn't like they were all like, "Yay, the Allies are here." It was like
Yeah, yeah. Well, nobody wants a war outside their front door, Es-
precise.
es- especially not when they're trying to play golf.
It, yes, it's Jamie Mackie. I don't know if the golf course was there, but yeah, I mean they were happy, of course, because they didn't like the Nazis, but the
Maybe
fighting.
maybe the invasion made the holes for the golf course.
Oh my gosh, Steve. The fighting around this whole area was incredibly fierce and high civilian casualties. Oh, look who's here. It is the road Rortier. Hello, Steve. Hello, Miss Martin says hello. Don't know, maybe Mary Poppins was part of the first wave. Oh dear. Yeah. It is odd. Like I said,
That
I
would have
didn't.
been epic, though. Like Mary Poppins flying by, and the German artillery shot her down over Normandy.
Oh dear. Yeah, well, that would have been unfortunate. But of course, a lot of the heroes, they did literally come from the air.
Yeah, and a lot of the bombing, I think, happened at night as well.
Mhm.
So easy to hit the local population because they were aiming for lights. People used to have their lights off during during the night if you lived in an area that was bombed now and again.
Yeah. Well, and also with the Nazis all just being embedded in all these places, it was just almost impossible for there not to be collateral damage. And
Yeah, the Nazis took over houses and stuff too. So
yeah, it was really terrible. So it was not just the fighting on the landing; it was after and in Bayeux. You can see that. What a lot of people did was they went to they all went to the basements and the catacomb things in the cathedral at Bayeux to survive. And they did the same thing at the Basilica of the Little Flower. And just all of this just bombed to hell. But let's go away from this to go into some real pictures. Cows. Yeah. The day that I was there with a friend of mine, my traveling companion, it was lovely. And there were cows. So I just couldn't help but take a picture of them as we were going. I didn't see as much on this trip as I would have wished because neither of us had a car. Neither of us drove. So we had to take a bus. So we basically just went up to Omaha. Though I did go when I was younger, when my parents were living in France and my dad drove me around. So I got to see a little more there. You can still see the German bunkers. But I mean, just a gorgeous day, a gorgeous place. I mean, so peaceful, but you know, but not so peaceful for obvious reasons. Here, I'm going to change our layout. Let's see if they'll let me do it. So last time I did, I messed up. Okay, because you know who I am. You'll hear Steve's disembodied voice, but if there were cows there that day, they weren't there for long. And it always blows my mind. They showed this in the Band of Brothers. It started like overnight or in the early morning. Um, and some of the paratroopers like missed their mark. Some of them drowned. Some of them were like, "Oh crap, I need to go hide," because if they got caught, they might have accidentally alerted the Nazis to what was going to be happening. There was one poor bastard who got stuck on top of the church. And he like became famous because he was hanging from his parachute up there in San Mar. I think it was San Mariglis. All right. Now we're not starting at the beach because you really can't get straight to the beach, obviously, from there. So this is a cemetery, the American Cemetery at Omaha Beach, and this is why I say that you just got to be there as far as the eye could see. And this is just one little portion of it. And just look, this gorgeous memorial, immaculate, and just people walking around being very respectful. It was a very somber place because you just really felt very heavily about who was buried here. And of course, it wasn't just the people that were buried that were casualties from D-Day, and that it was like all the fighting around the area, not and in Normandy and in France and stuff. That's where a lot of Americans had their final resting place because yeah, they weren't going to send them home. Uh, in many cases,
Even identifying all of them would have been a heck of a huge job.
precisely. So in a lot of these, you will not see any names as well. But good point, Stieg. Oh, and oh, here's some more. You can see in the background a little more of the scope of all these areas. This was a very, very hot day. I remember I got burned like you wouldn't believe it because I didn't bring a hat with me. My traveling companion, we were there to mainly be in Paris, and we were also there for a convention. I was covering it for Once Upon a Fan, and then we went to. We wanted to go to Normandy for obvious reasons, so this was not the main part of our trip. Gosh, if you've never been to Paris, go to Paris. Well, actually, maybe now you wouldn't want to go to Paris, but in a different time, it would have been nice to go to Paris. And you see some people sitting here praying. It was, a very common sight.
And one of them looks to be checking his phone, to be honest.
Oh. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, you just ruined my picture. Damn you, Steve. Well,
sorry.
It looks nicer to say they're praying, but actually,
he's probably googling a prayer.
There you go. But I thought their hands were folded.
Well, one of them is.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll pretend I didn't hear that because that is a very poignant.
She is praying and he's reciting a Bible verse for her or something.
Thank
by
you,
using Google.
Dear. Oh dear. Well, you heard it here first. My life has been a lie. We have a hound in the house. Woof woof. Miss Martin Muses and everyone. Yes, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Dadman Walkie 55 says, "Good evening. Yes, that can be worse than you think out on the battlefields." Hell yes. And I'm, like I said, I was shagged. Or not, I wasn't shagged. That's how rumors get started. My ancestor was shagged by a Viking.
This is why she likes France.
My ancestor was shagged by a Viking, and so I have the pasty white Vikingness, though I'm sure the genes went to other places, but
yeah, you need to remove your genes if you're going to get shagged.
Not in the 9th century. However, or rather the 10th century, because it was the 900s. I just burned like you wouldn't believe it. That's just all there is to it. And like a big idiot, it didn't occur to me to use sunscreen because I forgot. So, but good point about on the battlefield. It just really reminds you that if you do know anyone in the military, I know that often for their care packages, it's like, please, send us lotion, other things that will help. Hound 3000 says, "A bit envious of Miss Martin Muses for traveling around the world." Aw, well, what's stopping you, And if you can travel around the world, travel in your area. Like that trip my sister and I took to see Robert E. Howard's museum. Phrasing, I know, Dad Man Walking. I totally messed that up. Every time I talk about that, I mess up. Because the other day I tried to call oral history, and that just went down the tubes really fast. Hey, everyone, just saying hi for before bedtime. Well, thank you, JT Gun, and thank you for the rose. And look at how restrained I am, Steve. I heard a ding,
Yeah,
and I didn't.
there's
Wait,
another one.
I was going to say it. I didn't say anything, and then I realized I did say something. So never mind. I always have I have a compulsion to let him know when his phone goes off. Seriously though, says Dad Man Walking, I'm very interested in this since we tour U.S. Civil War sites and cemeteries and World War II has always been one. Oh my gosh, yes. And if you haven't been watching, Dad Man Walking and his wife have been going to Civil War sites over the past month or so, or at least a few weeks. They went to was it Vicksburg or is it Chattanooga? I don't know where you all were. I think it was Vicksburg. I've been to several Civil War battlefields. Gettysburg is still the best preserved because they started preserving it like right after the the battle. I mean, it became a museum before the war was even over. And World War II is fascinating, and unfortunately, we can't go. We can go see the sites, but you have to make a grand effort. But it needs to be done at least once. This is very accessible. Just fly into Paris and take the train north. That's what I did with my traveling companion. Also, as awful as it is, everyone should go see a concentration camp. Everyone's saying hello. Yes. Vicksburg, Grand Gulf, Wilson Creek, and Pea Ridge. Okay. Have you been to Chattanooga and was it the battle above the clouds? That was some good stuff. A very interesting battle. And of course, if you are Stieg, you can see World War II stuff in your own country because a lot of people don't know about Norway because we suck. I didn't know if you wanted to share a little bit in case anyone listening doesn't know about the contributions of the Norwegian heroes.
Yeah, we got invaded and occupied,
Hmm.
um, but despite that, we managed to prevent the Nazis from developing nuclear weapons.
Hmm.
Yeah, a few Norwegian commandos did it. They blew up the heavy water plant or whatever that was factory. So if we hadn't done that, um, Germany would have had nuclear weapons before the U.S., which would have been bad for a lot of countries, I think.
Yeah, everything would have been different. There's a movie called The Heroes of Telemark,
Yeah,
and
I,
I'm sorry.
I think that's the one that has to do with that commando mission. Uh,
Hmm.
there's not a damn Norwegian in it though. Oh, they've done a TV show now based on that, and one of the heroes of Telemark is played by an Arab immigrant actor. So apparently we had Arabs back then. Who knew?
Uh, yeah, that's an issue. And didn't they f it up too in Call of Duty?
Oh, in Call of Duty, yeah, some SJW Swedish idiot. Uh, no, it wasn't Call of Duty. It was Battlefield.
Okay.
They had a mission based on that, and then they kept saying their game was historically accurate as well. But the people who prevented the Nazis from getting nuclear weapons in that game was a single mom and her teenage daughter.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the developer got pissed because people pointed out, hey, this is not historically accurate. And also, one of the protagonists was an English lady with a cyborg hand. I am not making this up.
Yeah.
And then he gets pissed because people say, yeah, this wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
And English women weren't even allowed to fight by law.
No. Same. Well, same with America. They didn't have women in combat. Not really. Maybe the
They had,
Russians did. I
they
don't
had
know.
female spies, but
Oh,
they did not have combatants. That was illegal in England.
yeah. And not just that. When they do that, especially that this particular saboteur Taj mission, it these are your heroes. These are they're they're Norwegian heroes that saved the world pretty much by stopping them. So it's not just like they're just doing this willy nilly. They're I don't know if not stolen valor. That's the wrong word. But it's like imagine if someone tried to rewrite American history and do a thing where like George Washington, it really wasn't George Washington or John Adams or in any of or our heroes, and they changed it to whatever. It's really disrespectful. But uh, so you can, I'm assuming somewhere in Norway, maybe see some of these, Stieg. Like, do they have museums or they have sites that you can
Oh,
visit?
all over the place.
Hmm.
Heck, where I live, you can explore German bunkers. They're still there, but a lot of them were destroyed after the war, though, which I thought was kind of stupid because if it was already built, just take it over and use it.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. No, understood. But I can also maybe understand the attitude. Well, obviously they had some
Yeah, and there
unhappy
was
memories.
also a bit of an ugly period afterwards where women who had slept with German soldiers for whatever reason and had babies with them, they were not treating well, nor were the babies.
Oh, yeah. It was yeah, fraternizing with the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough time. So when I say things like everyone knows to go to Normandy, hop over to Norway. Look, it's really close, and see those things. Go also as well as going over to the usual suspects places. It's really it's and nothing beats no Google, no website can beat this. Like I'm showing this right here. Here's a very good shot that really shows the scope of all of these dead soldiers. Um, it's nothing can compare to just standing there and seeing this. And yeah, here you'll see these occasionally. Some Stars of David. Um, it's it's something else. Road Warrior says Thomas Jefferson didn't write the Declaration of Independence. It was his trans Latinx secretary. He also stopped British cultists from. Yep, there you go. Yeah,
Well, no, no, we can't have that because the Declaration of Independence is problematic now, isn't it?
yeah.
It's,
How dare
it's,
we want independence? Of it's just such a big rabbit hole. You know, this really reminds me, and I think I can put some stuff maybe up on my site without any doxing situations, but because I am working on my grandfather's letters and putting in my grandmother's letters. Because check this out. While he was fighting in Normandy and all through France and ended up in Germany, she, unbeknownst to herself, was building the nuclear bomb. She was at the Manhattan Project. She was one of those people, one of those Rosie the Riveter types, who was working in the factory, and she didn't know till after it was over that they were making the parts for the bomb. True story. So I'm putting it together. And what's really cool is they had like a company newsletter, and some of these events, they'll just like be reporting in there. It's like, oh, hey, we went and talked to this person, and this person was there, and they had pictures and all the things that they did to keep themselves sane. And one of them was they were laying out in the fields of France, not knowing if they were going to get blown to crap. uh, they found a rabbit that they made a pet out of, and my granddaddy drew a picture of the rabbit. Just things like that that put some humanity behind each one of these crosses or Stars of David, and the ones that we just don't even know who they were. They were unidentified. Oh, here's another one. Check this out. It was a gorgeous day. But yeah, every direction you saw, and this is just the American one.
is that one? Is that guy naked?
No, no, he's got shorts on and a shirt.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
hey, Do you
Can,
really? Hey, if someone would try to, even
oh,
today,
I'm looking at the screen slightly sideways.
okay, no, that he would get his rear end beat up. I think he's actually pushing a lawnmower, and you see various people finding various people's graves, and there, right. And now we're going to be looking out kind of toward where the beach is. Okay. Um, Hound 3000, does Steve want to see naked people? Well, not at
No, no,
Normandy.
not in the graveyard. No.
No, no, that's not cool. What
No.
really struck us as we were doing this was
No.
there.
No, no
Sorry.
bones in the graveyard, please.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we were on top looking down, and you're going to see another perspective of that in a little bit. And look at this lovely path that they have now. Obviously, the soldiers did not have this lovely stroll through here. It was, you can't quite see how steep it is, but this is going down to the beach, and the foliage and all that. That was where these people literally had to come up and fought and have all the Nazis up there blowing them to crap. So
Question: wasn't it right off the coast where Sir Walter Raleigh blew up a French fleet?
I thought it was Spanish, maybe.
Oh yeah, Spanish.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was about ready to say it's like I didn't want to.
Yeah,
Other hmm,
yeah, because
aren't
I
there?
think it was kind of in that area, wasn't it?
Yeah, all of that stuff in the English Channel.
Yeah.
Though I think it was a little more to the west, because also some of that invasion they had stopped off in Cork, because they wanted, they were on the side of Spain to go and invade England. This was, and Cork got blown to you know what. Also, they got in trouble with the Jacobites as well. So, aren't there different grave markers? Yes, I don't know if you were here. I think I might have just been right before you arrived. Yeah, you'll find stars of David and crosses. People did it to the best of their knowledge. I thought it was a storm that took out the Spanish Armada. Well, yes, along. Yeah, I might make an agent of myself. Yes, because the ships and all that did. The storms did have an effect there.
Oh yeah. I think
Everybody Google.
no.
Yeah.
I'm probably remembering the Elizabeth movie, which was probably embellished.
Yeah. Well, there were definitely many aspects of it that were embellished. Okay, so this is us here on the bottom. I should also say that my traveling companion, a very good friend of mine, her father actually fought in World War II, but he was in uh, um, the other theater. He was a submarine commander, and he fought the Japanese. And though she's the same age as me, uh, her she was adopted. They couldn't have children, so they were much older when they adopted her. So her father actually fought. So even though her father wasn't here, it still really moved her. And of course, this was where my grandfather was. This is us down looking up, and again, it just blew us away because we were just standing there looking up at that hill, and the brave soldiers that landed, if they made it to this point, and you're going to see how the beach was just so open. If they made it to this point, they had that to climb up. And the picture doesn't do justice how steep it is and how completely disadvantaged they were, because the Germans had the high ground. If you have the high ground coming down, it and the casualties that were so high, and brave how brave they were to to do that. Um, yeah, I'm sorry that I missed June 6th for this, but I figured, well, it's Flag Day, so why not? Pacific Theater, thank you. Why did I mess up that? Pacific, wow, submarine commander, that was a tough job. Oh yeah. It
Oh, watch DOS boot.
mhm.
That one's accurate in terms of what it's like inside a submarine.
Yes. And true story, her dad's submarine got sunk and all of them died, and he just happened to be not like on the submarine. He was on leave or something. There was some freak reason why he wasn't on there, and it pretty much fucked him up. And it wasn't uncommon that things would go wrong. Like it you didn't even have to get blown up by a a, a missile. Just the technology was there, and it's like, oops, we lost all our power. Oops, we're now just going to sink, and everyone's going to suffocate. It was a horrible way to die. Dan Milwaukee says, yes, pictures don't give the same feel as actually being there. You get so much more of an appreciation of the battlefields for everything there. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, if you are a Civil War connoisseur, please sub to Dead Man Walking and see the tours that he and his wife have been making rather. Road Warrior, just want to mention how much worse Normandy invasion would have been if Hitler wasn't convinced that Patton was going to lead the real invasion. I'm not entirely sure about this. I mean, I do know that. Help me out here. Help me out with some more details. Um, I do know that Hitler believed that they were going to land at Calais, and wasn't that the saboteurs, right? The spy people. That they gave like a fake message that made Hitler think that the invasion was going to happen elsewhere. And of course, when you look at Omaha Beach and on all these beaches at Normandy, there was no place to land. They brought the dock with them. It was an amazing feat, and we weren't really able to see the pictures here, but at the one of the other beaches, you can still see the docks are out there in the ocean. Oh yeah. Oh no, you're welcome. You're welcome, Dad Man Walking. No problem at all. Um, Here, give me a second. Do, 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 do. Whoops. I do not want to hit the wrong button. Here, go ahead and put your link in there. Yeah, they've got problems because the button for add moderator and ban from channel is right next to each other. So be careful, people. USS Tang has a memorial near us where there's its own torpedo malfunctioned and circled around and hit it with only about 10 survivors. Yeah, yeah, just horrible, horrible stuff. So here we go. Here's another view along the beach looking back up there. It was also a bit surreal because you'll see people doing things like this person there sunbathing. On this end, these are not people that are up visiting the memorial necessarily. And you'll see kids playing, people swimming in the ocean, and it just kind of blew me away. It's like, yeah, to them, it's just a beach. All right. Now, this picture is the same perspective, but now I am back and very close to the water. So you can just see how open it is. And once again, the picture doesn't do justice about how far away, but I think if you really look, just how small those trees are. So these men, when they landed, just going across open beach, there was no protection, no nothing. You just, like they showed in Saving Private Ryan, the plan was enough people will make it up, but a lot of them will just get shot. So you just prayed that you weren't going to be one of them. And no questions asked, they just got out and did it. And once you were landed, there was only one choice. you were going to get blown up one way or another. You may as well get blown up trying to head up that hill. My granddaddy said something to me that was kind of profound because it wasn't me, because I think I knew better, but someone was asking my granddaddy, "Do you want to go see Saving Private Ryan?" And he's just like, of course, I'm like, that's really a weird question to ask a vet. Um, and he said no. And he didn't even like Saving Private Ryan, the whole idea of the way that they were promoting how accurate it was. Because he said, I went and fought so that you all wouldn't get to experience what happened when during that war. Because now, of course, I have the perspectives like I love Saving Private Ryan because I did get to appreciate it, but I understand where he was coming from. And of course, he was like, "No, I don't want to see Saving Private Ryan," even though he wasn't there on the landing. He was part of that fierce fighting after June 6th. And he never really talked about it at all. We didn't talk about that aspect of it. He would only just get close when he would say that. This is what I was saying previously, where this is just a local kid, and all those Sir Mares, they're literally like these teeny tiny little towns along the beach. Like there would be a town here, and then oh wait, I'm pointing wrong with the thing. Like a town here, then boom, 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 a town here, and yeah, the kids would just come and play. This is looking to the right, and I forget who to the right was. I know the Canadians were to the left, and of course the Brits. Hello, it's Revenite Football Club. At least I think that's what FC stands for. Hey, Teresa, this is very interesting to see. That looks like an awful long way to walk through machine gun fire bombs and obstacles on the beach. Yes. Oh, yeah. And yeah, they had wire and all that kind of stuff, barbed wire. Road Warrior, yes, it was a massive intelligence effort. There was a soldier they dumped and pretended that they were desperate to get back. And they had an entirely inflated armada to trick the Spiesenland. I think I butchered the German. Yay, we got a second battlefield promotion. And today. Yay, we do endorse them. And it's good to see you, Revenite. So isn't your football club Liverpool? I forget. Don't quote me on that.
I certainly hope not.
I forget. I may be falsely accusing you. If I'm remembering correctly. Spies in England. Well, I've already told you that I have a friend that's Liverpool or die, but he was raised in Liverpool, and that's only fair. He didn't space it out, Teresa. Oh, spies in England. Oh, spies in England. I thought it was like some long German word. Oh no, I'm a terrible person. Okay, I understand. I got you. I'm thinking like Spiesenlangen, and I'm like, gee. All right. You know what was okay? Not entirely funny, but there was a small group of kids on a tour, and the boys started being dumbasses and started playing war, like they were shooting at each other, and their teacher just tore them to shreds, and we're all just kind of like, honey, walking away, because kids can be dumb. So here's where you get another idea. I think you can see one of the towns here. Yes, and people strolling along, a mix of people like us and others. Just, it's a really nice summer day. Let's go and enjoy the beach. Just another perspective of all of that. What do we have? Teresa. Uh-oh. I hope you'll be able to handle this. Teresa is right. Unfortunately for you, Steve. Yes, he is Liverpool. I thought I remembered, but I did not want to falsely accuse you. But Liverpool's better than Manchester United, isn't it?
Yeah, no, just as bad,
Oh,
really.
okay. I think you
Yeah.
have to be just correct. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll never walk alone.
Are you sure it's a walk though? I thought you'll never whack alone. Sorry, kidding.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, well, it's my fault for bringing up Liverpool, but it's true. I mean, I know. So I know two genuine Liverpool fans, but but Rev and I live there too, Steve. So I think that's fair.
Oh, if he lives there, it's fine.
Okay. Maybe I should have clarified that, but
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult with to to kind of peg down Liverpool and Man United fans because most of them comes from China.
yeah, or America, because
Firing shots left and right.
yeah. Okay, all that open beach the entire time. Like,
Oh
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
United haven't won anything significant in years. I know, I love it. I hope it's like 20 years until they win something else.
Yeah. Well, Man City is definitely got issues. I mean, no, the other way around. Man United, Man City are the ones that
Oh,
are
they're
killing it.
doing just fine.
Yeah, they're doing just fine. They just won the triple, whatever you called it.
Treble.
Thank you, the treble. It might be the Road Warrior is at the ruins of a bunker on the upper right. It really might be. I know that there were German bunkers. I've been to them before, but we didn't have a car. If you can try to drive, we just weren't in a situation we could have, because it's a lot easier to drive in France than in Ireland. Actually, I will drive in Europe. I just won't drive in Ireland or England because of the left side of the road thing. Um, it's just not safe, to be honest, and the fact that you have to do the manual backwards. But other countries in Europe, I'm fine with. But yes, dang it, I should have had my niece send me some pictures because she got to go to Normandy to check it out with her family. Here's another view. Gives you also a little bit of perspective that even though it kind of looks nice, this is kind of rough water and what these guys were landing in. Okay, here's another view, just that open space, and it just haunted me. Haunted me. Yeah. Yeah, Revenite says Liverpool are falling behind football. Football isn't a bright place for us Liverpool fans. We got 4 Middle Eastern owners who spend a lot in our league now, and we got an American owner who spends nothing. Oh yeah, money is sometimes what makes the difference. Okay, now this is a view looking out. So when I first showed you that picture of me looking up, I just turned around and did it looking out. That was where they all came from. And just imagine if you're a Nazi. Now Nazis suck. But this is what they saw. They woke up and they saw all those ships and all that out there. Just imagine that, just ships and boats landing and docks and all of those things.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the Nazis had like a massive army station there either. It was just
No.
a few machine guns and bunkers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
They're just and that was yeah they they killed a lot with
yeah.
those few guns. I mean, if you look at the view, right,
Mm-hmm. Here, let me
it's
go back.
wide open. It's wide open.
Yeah.
Just shoot straight ahead, and you'll hit 10 people.
Yeah. And the high ground, so they were also shooting down
Yep.
into it. And part of the reason was because this was not an expected landing place, as from for the reasons that we said
I mean,
before.
imagine if they had had lots of artillery. They could have
Hmm.
just targeted the beach and rained.
Rained hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
none of the Americans would have made it, or no, I say the Americans, sorry, the Allies. And though this is where the Americans were. Revenite FC says these shots are so serene compared to the utter chaos and destruction of that time. Yeah. Oh, something else. The Road Warrior says, not sure if it's true, but was told that at Omaha the water stained the beach red for a full month after the invasion. Possible. I
I've
mean,
heard something about that, about Verdun in France after World War I as well. That there's stuff won't really grow there because there's so much lead and stuff in the soil.
that's true. And I got to go to Verdun with when I was in college. That's when my folks were living over there, and for 3 years I basically, when I wasn't at college, I was there, and it was barren. I mean, everywhere it was just big holes from just all the fighting where shells had gone off, and yeah, it was almost of biblical proportions. um yeah, Verdun, that really struck me because we sometimes forget about World War I. That place was horrifying when you imagine being a soldier there. um and remember, all around this whole area, fighting was continuing for months, some of the fiercest fighting ever. My grandfather, he was anti aircraft artillery, and when he landed, and then, boom, was stationed around Calais because he was protecting the Allied airfields. And of course, Calais was a big part. Oh wait, not Calais. In Cherbourg. I'm thinking. I think I'm pronouncing these incorrectly. I am sorry, French people. Um. Oh yeah, we saw that. This struck me, and since it's Flag Day, I wanted to show this as well. Some people who'd come before us had, in tribute to the people that died, put down some American flags, and it was pretty moving. Pretty moving. And was this more than 6 years later? See, this was in 2017, 2018 when I was there. So that's, well, it's not too long ago from now. So that was like 20, 20, 60, 70 years. Um, that the fallen, the, that they would be honored for what they did that day, you know, just in small ways like this. Dead Man Walking. It's hard to believe the stories about blood changing the water and landscape, like a bloody pond at Shiloh. The amount of blood to make the water turn red would be massive. Yes. Speaking of something that people don't appreciate, the things like what happened at Shiloh or Bloody Lane at Antietam, the amount of death, the casualties. If we had them today, like we don't even imagine. We can't even imagine the kind of casualties that people had and the butchery. Revenant said it's a way. It in a way, it's the beauty of this world that a place can be so beautiful and yet filled with so much pain from our past. Dead Man Walking says sometimes things closer to the event rumors start that become legend. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, for sure, it was hell. It was hell on earth and it was bloody. I don't think I'm giving away a secret because she's not listening and no one knows who she is. But my same friend, the one that was in the Pacific Theater, he couldn't deal with all of that, and he just spent the rest of his life drunk. And it was, an issue for her, being raised by an alcoholic father. But she said if there was anything I could actually understand, it would be that. Uh, but yeah, lots of veterans. Well, lots of veteran suicides. We're facing this today. That's why it's so important to support the vets and support social services and mental services. And
The golden rule: always support the soldiers and the vets, even though you might disagree with why they're there. Get the politicians, not the soldiers.
yes, amen. Yeah. Oh, here's another view of another spot, just in because I think this is when we were turning back around to walk. Interesting fact: my when my niece went there with her parents, they weren't allowed to walk the walk that we did, and they said it was because of terrorism concerns or something, and that it just they weren't comfortable with people wanting to sabotage this area, because there was a been a rise of terrorism as we all know, but no one wants to admit in France particularly. So she did not get the opportunity to take this walk. They had to drive and come from the other way. Revenite says, "Get those flags back on the White House and that old crook Biden." Oh, don't even get me started on. I mean, what you heard about that? I'm sure, Steve.
Well, oh yeah, the new flags they put up. Well, it's gonna keep happening. That stuff like that's gonna keep happening because nobody's doing a damn thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do angry tweets, but that's about it.
Yeah, on days like these, and when you see those American flags, to think that on Flag Day and around this time that that's the flag they choose to fly. Unbelievable.
I mean, like Trump or not, he was always on the side of the veterans.
Yes. And this current president left them for left the leave. I don't even. It's very devastating. That's the feeling I get when I see this flag. I completely understand, Revenite. I do, and you're not even American, and I do appreciate that. Well, because we're all human beings, darn it. And when we see that, and if you know any veterans, not my grandfather. Well, my grandfather, he's passed away, obviously, but my uncle was a Vietnam veteran, and my best friend, her dad was a Vietnam veteran. My dad missed it, um, but so many of his friends, and you know, and then people that to just see this disrespect. It's hard. Potato row. Look who's here. The Irish are here. Potato Revan. I saw an elderly man go back to Normandy, and he walked from the water to the beach line. By the time he got to the old banks, he was a ball of tears. Broke down and said, "We did it, boys." Oh dear. Whew. Yeah. Ah. There we go. That says it all. My granddad was a rebel, a freedom fighter. My grand said he would have a panic attack at certain points. The stuff these people go through is hell. He fought from 1914 to 1925. Yeah. Stay in touch, Potato Revan, because maybe we need to do a stream or something about that. As a kid in Ireland, you didn't really talk politics, religion, or money, especially things like those years in polite company. But I think we could. I mean, looking at it from a historical point of view, I don't think people appreciate what the Irish did to get their freedom. And I think for sure a lot of the current Irish maybe don't understand. Perhaps, correct me if I'm wrong, because I understand. And this is your country, but I would love to hear more about this. But yeah, I was there in Cork for the 100th anniversary of the Easter Rising in 2016. Rather, I wasn't there in 1916. Hmm. Yes, that's what I was talking about. I'm not going to highlight your word, Rory, or I see it, but I'm so upset I'm not going to highlight it. To go a little bit back to World War One, Potato Revan, the Fury Brothers or David author, the Green Fields of France. That is a song everyone needs to. Oh my gosh, I just got chills. Needs to hear about, No Man's Land and all of that. Willie McBride. Potato Revan says, my friend and panel member Favre is a vet. He has PTSD, and I'm doing a July 4th stream just to distract him. I will do what I can to support him. And we've had some deep combos. Yes, and I'm going to be on that too, because
You know what? You know what disgusts me really? People self-diagnosing with PTSD just because people spoke harshly to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The new generation. Oh yeah, someone used the wrong pronoun on me. I have PTSD now. Like, yeah, no, you don't.
No. And I know that, how do I say this? Something like 4th of July, which I just think is so awesome, and I can't get enough of the fireworks. Things like that give me a different perspective that, yeah, it's hell. And you really can't escape it in America, at least, because everyone is shooting off fireworks everywhere in their backyards, and then it's all day and it's all night, and it's horrible. Yeah, so I'm going to be on that stream too. As Potato Ribbon's trying to collect some Americans for that, and everything that you just said, Steeg. Yep.
Yeah, people seem to confuse butthurt with PTSD now.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've ever seen someone with PTSD, you would not use it lightly like that. Oh no, Potato Revan says I would try to bring mountains with us. Being from Cork, the toxic wasteland. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, I trolled him pretty bad today, Steeg. So, yeah, Cork versus Waterford. Revenite says, if it happens in the U.S., the rest of our leaders would do it in a second. It's probably already happened. It's tough to see. 99% of the stuff I see in the media makes my head hot and want to throw up. Yeah, it's a tough time.
Yeah, because if you get communism or bullshit in a smaller country, it's not that big of a deal. But the U.S. is a continent, and the U.S. dollar is one of the a huge part of the world economy.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole of Europe turning communist or something at the same time. That's what it's like if this shit keeps happening in the U.S.
Yeah, and the power that we have, for good or for ill, we do have that power. Yeah. Potato Rev and TikTok has loads of people who are now like, hi, I'm a therapist. If you have these signs, you have trauma and PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could come up with maybe a different term than PTSD, because there is some truth to the fact that there are some traumatic events like whether you
Yeah.
see them or whatever, that do have similar, that do have traumatic things, but not PTSD. Yeah. So someone invent a better word for like not PTSD, but similar. And I've been guilty of that
Well,
sometimes. Like some of
simply,
the,
they've gone through something traumatic and they haven't dealt with it. You know,
Mhm.
that's not the same as PTSD.
No, I mean that kind of
PTSD is
situation.
completely crippling. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Recalling traumatic events can feel awful. It can even maybe even bring on a panic attack. But as we've
yeah.
said, it's not PTSD. Uh, and if you've ever seen it, you know. Revenite FC, these people are scared of life and will use any excuse to get away from life instead of confronting it. Yeah.
Or get out of having to work and get out of responsibility. I mean, how many times have you seen on Twitter or something people going, yeah, I'm autistic, so that's why I'm behaving like an asshole.
It's like, no, no, you're just behaving like
Always
an asshole.
self-diagnosed too.
Yeah, I was about ready to say, because actually an autistic person is, depending on their diagnosis, is not that self-aware. And I have worked with genuine autistic kids, love them to actually give me a real autistic kid over these fake autistic narcissists, where because they're sweet as hell. And people, when they truly are like that, I mean, they actually, you know, they don't act like the people that are like, oh yeah, I'm autistic. And yeah, and I do lose patience, um, because even if you do have a mental illness or a disability, that still doesn't excuse bad behavior. Nothing excuses bad behavior. Period. Nothing.
It's like, yeah, sorry, I was an asshole, but keep in mind I'm autistic.
Yeah. Or I
It's
was
like
just
it's like a get out of jail free card.
yeah. Or sorry, I'm an asshole, but I had bad things happen to me as a kid.
Yeah,
Um, the Road Warrior says it's just narcissists collecting mental illness like war medals. Yeah. And that's the
yeah.
other thing. That is unfair to people with real mental illness as well. It's like I okay, I am not trying to in any way diminish depression, people that say they have depression. But sometimes the way I see people say they have depression, and I'm like, "Oh no. Oh hell no. You don't know." And if real depression, like clinical depression,
Well, depression, you don't know you have it until you have it. Sneaks up on people.
yeah, and it's chronic, it's crippling, it's not, again, it's not just something to either be self-diagnosed, and it's dangerous. And when I say it's dangerous, because people with depression are at a high risk of suicide. um, Potato Brim said there's a revolt going on. White House may be investigated for flag violations, and students are ripping up Pride stuff. Companies are ending their Pride stuff early. Yeah, actually, the latter part is something, Potato Ribbon, that makes me have hope. Because when the corporations start to fold, because you know that they follow money. Potato Ribbon said, my cousin said for some stuff has been through, he's used situational trauma or for less is aggravated anger into a situational misplaced aggression. Oh, okay. That's a good word, situational trauma. Yeah, so many of those people out there, it's crazy. Yeah. And for those of you that might be coming in and all that and wondering, this is in context with some of this talk about PTSD and what these heroes went through, because my friend whose father was in the Pacific Theater. Yeah. as far as everything that's going on right now, my dad, he said that he's glad my granddaddy isn't here to see.
Did you see that veteran who that broke down on camera talking
Yeah,
about what's happened with the U.S.? He was like, "All my friends died for this."
yeah. Potato Reverend said, a VTuber I seen around did an online autism test for the LOLs. It pissed me off. Mental illness and conditions are not a joke. I have an unseen disability. My friends use my crutch as a gun and mock me. Oh, that's terrible. If I'm hearing you correctly there, because I'm not sure. I think a few words are typos, but yeah, it's not a joke. Oh, see, and that's the line too. It's like, first of all, there's people that misuse it and use it as a poor me, but I know what you're talking about, and I don't like it. I don't know if we're thinking of the same people, but there's definitely one that might rhyme with Mouter. For several reasons, I think he's a piece of garbage. But it's like, no, 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 no. There has to be a line you don't cross, and he's crossed. Well, he's crossed about 200, but he's a piece of garbage. But I know what you're talking about. That you still have to have compassion. See, that's the other thing. You can even call things out. You can, within reason, mock things, but keep your humanity, people.
Well, victimhood is you know the most valuable currency today, especially online. And if people don't have it, they'll fabricate it.
Yeah. Oh, I think I've got you, Reverend. Oh, so you don't mind? Okay, because it makes you feel normal, which is important to me because it makes me feel normal. Okay, gotcha. Right. Reverend FC says, Potato Reverend, don't get too hopeful yet. Frosties are being sponsored by Dylan Mulvaney. So another big stupid company, Kellogg's is. Well, yeah, and we if you know anything about Frosties, that's a kid's cereal. Well done, you perverts. Road Warrior says depression is not part of your normal biological functions. It's an abnormality and needs to be treated, but so many people treat it as an aspect of their personality. It's infuriating. Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying is if you know someone with depression, like real depression, it is yes, it's not a personality thing. And when it hits, and it can be situational, and that's where be careful. There's such a thing as like chronic depression. I mean, there are some things times it is natural to go into a state of depression. A good example of this is Holocaust survivors. They've studied them and said that they went into a state of depression, and that was actually the way they survived. Because when you that shut off everything and can't function. I mean, you functioned like as a human, you could walk and but all that, but that there was like just an aspect of them where they just didn't allow themselves to feel.
It's also a bit like when people get uh, a burnout,
Hmm.
they kind of shut down.
Yeah.
I've had I've known people who got that because they were so overworked that
Hmm.
they got up in the morning and then like, nah, I'm not going to work. Then they just and sat down in the chair or something. And one guy I know just went fishing, didn't care.
Yeah. And that is what is it? It's stress. It's
Yeah, stress and all kinds of stuff adds up.
yeah, and it's almost anxiety. Yeah, I think that's more on the an anxiety level, and it's a coping mechanism. Like if you didn't know better, and if you would think, oh, this person's just being lazy, but no, this person is actually surviving. They have to stop, and whether it's you know going fishing like what your friend did, or sitting in a sitting in a chair and just not even getting dressed and just spending the day in bed, or taking. But you need to take the time to look after yourself because life's too short. Revenant FC says, I was reading that when Kellogg's was formed, they were fighting against the very thing they are promoting. Now I need to look into it, but it's very hypocritical. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, well, that explains something, Potato Ribbon. The VTuber is an anime avatar. She jokes around making jokes, and she is like, I have 141 on the online autism score. People are turning it into a joke, and I'm like, and are like, I'm autistic because they are quirky. Yeah. Oh, Potato Room said the Irish from the War of Independence and Civil War disassociated when the Civil War happened. Reports are people saying I can't remember their faces, but really remember their clothes. Yeah. Actually, I mean, check it out. Uh, those were some rough years. In America, we sometimes name drinks after some of that, and it really pisses me off. I won't even say some of the names of the drinks. Well, some of the names of the drinks refer to things that happened in the 70s and 80s. Um, but be careful, especially if you're going to Cork. Don't order a black and tan. I'll just put it to you that way. Potato Ribbon. Kellogg's was founded by a eugenicist, and cornflakes were created to discourage self-enjoyment. I don't surprise me. Yeah, they were all a bunch of eugenicist bastards. Planned Parenthood was all about that. All right. Here's a view. I'm looking back to the left. I believe that is where the Rangers, yeah, they climbed up. They were like mountain climbing. They had the ropes and stuff. That's how they got to shore. And you see, this is when people are like, I can't do it. That's too hard. It's like, hello. Yeah, this was probably hard too, but they did it. And they did it for you, you dumbasses. Another view. Yeah, lots here. This is looking out at the ocean. Again, the picture and the perspective doesn't do justice. We've already seen from the previous pictures how open and long this area was. You can see where I'm standing. I'm already on higher terrain, higher ground, and it's uneven.
Reminds me of the beach at Jaws. You know,
Oh, you're right with the way
they
the
yeah, because I noticed they had the similar fences there too, right?
correct, yeah, with the grasses and the like. Hmm. Yeah, just more of that. Ah, this is when we're climbing back up. You see, of course, it's in French. A site. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it in French, but you can even tell just by looking. It's like it's protected. A site natural protege. I think because in French they don't pronounce the e. Omaha Beach. Bit de place of embarkment 6th of June 1944. And no camping, no smoking, no trash, no motorcycles, cars. I can't see what the last is. And they also, you can't really see it here. It's in some of the smaller print, reminding people to maintain respectful silence. That it was like that this is like a cemetery. This beach is a cemetery. And here I am. This is us climbing up. I know that I am a broken record, but I have to say it again. The picture doesn't do justice to how steep this is. So kind of try to look at the layers. You can look here at the top and see how much smaller it is. and gives some perspective about not only distance but how steep. And I think it wasn't this nice looking. Most likely, it was not the day of the when they had to come up. So these troops, if they made it across the beach, if they made it to the hill, they still had to fight up to get to the top. Oh dear. Potato Revan, French don't exist as Spanish propaganda. Well, and Potato Burn says, God, I wonder how many souls are still there. I wish to God there was a proper monument there. I'd put a large statue and a line of all the country's flags who fought there. Well, you have your wish. It is up there. You see up at the top that the American Memorial and they also had a British area. And when I do get to Bayeux, it's very moving. It's a French country, a French town, but you will see all the flags. It's very moving. And they had signs in French, like with the American flag, the Canadian, all the people that helped liberate all those countries, and it would say, "Welcome to our liberators." Yeah, Road Runner, following your ancestors' footsteps, it really is something. Oh yeah, as I said previously, I was bawling the entire time. I mean, I didn't stop crying. It was just floodgates. I mean, I'm an emotional person anyways, but this one took the cake. This took the cake. And so I had like sunglasses on cuz it was almost embarrassing, and I was like, I guess it's okay to cry, but oh my gosh. It was just so overwhelming. And this is me taking the picture back of what we saw before, and I pointed out at the earlier, we had these to get up this really steep hill. The heroes did not. Some perspective. Look here to the left where the beach is, where we are showing, you know. So at this point, we're kind of standing where the Germans might have been. Potato Ribbon, Road Warrior, I have a fighting stick from 1750 passed down in my family and keeping it safe. Hell yes. My feet hurt looking at these pictures. Yes. It was rough. But I'll say it again. We had this lovely path. We weren't having people trying to kill us. I have a powder horn from one of my ancestors from the Civil War. Road Warrior says the ugly crying left alone. I think I would too. Actually tearing up a little bit now. Yeah. I mean, it's moving. It's moving to me. Who was it? It was further back, the person that said about the old veteran. I think it might have been Potato Ribbon, actually. Or the Road Warrior says, hold on to that. We might need it. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, I need to get my arse back to Europe. I really love it. And I hope that you all in Europe hold fast. I could go to see some of the battlefields. I'd probably have to go by train though, because Texas is one. Texas is just bigger than France. It was easier to go those when I used to live in the north.
Europe is a lot less safe now, and the media is being they're skipping that bit.
Yeah.
A lot of stabbings and stuff like that by very new Europeans.
Well, we just saw that horrible, horrible stabbing in the French playground.
Yeah, and um, the stabby people do not like Americans.
No.
So your accent would be painting a bullseye target on you.
Yeah. And as awful as I can't imagine going to France, to be honest, right now. Um,
Who, who would want to?
yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's it's turned into a shithole.
if you'd have asked me a few years ago, I'd have said that it's worth it to go see Notre Dame. But
Yeah,
look what they've done to that Notre Dame.
yeah.
They burned that.
Electrical fire, my ass.
Yeah.
There were over 200 church fires that summer or that year or something.
Yeah. Or it was like a careless worker. Yeah, because it also happened the cathedral at Orleans and in Normandy.
At the same day, I think.
Quite possibly, and we all know what was. And in Normandy, even at a normal parish church, Catholic church, a priest was beheaded while he was saying mass. Um, it's rough. And to me, what is even worse is everyone looking the other way. And I was raised that we would never allow this to happen again. That was what I was told my whole life. We're never going to allow this stuff to happen again. Well, it is.
Oh, that's because people allowed communism to fester. That's what it's.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I was trying to say is that everyone always says, "Oh, I would have stood up. I would have done this. We won't let this happen again. Never again." It's like, well, I hate to tell you something. Oh,
Here's the thing that I think social media is doing. Social media has given everyone a place to vent their anger and rage, which means the anger and rage lessens, so people won't fight back because you already gotten a lot of it out of your system by having a Twitter argument or ranting about this and that. Because I've noticed a lot of people keep, yeah, we need to get this person out of office and we need to get rid of these people, blah blah blah. Not a damn one is doing anything, and uh, the parties that are supposed to do something about it are not doing anything, and uh, their voters are still voting for them. You know,
it's it's discouraging. Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's 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 completely fucking retarded. Pardon my English.
I think that's funny when you say that because yeah, it's ridiculous that we say "pardon my French." Oh, yeah, I did not see that comment, Revan. Earlier when I was saying it, that's exactly what we're referring to. Oh, yeah, Nottingham. Have you heard about the what's been going on in Nottingham, Steak? Five,
No,
five stabbings. Oh, three. I thought there were five, or five stabbings, three dead. Um, I found out because the Nottingham Forest Football Club was saying, "Oh, we're just so shocked about this and all that," and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's
shocked but not surprised. I believe.
yeah, stabbed someone, stole a car, and drove into people. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people in Europe have opinions about us and our guns. However, some
Look
of
what
this stuff.
happens. Look what happens when you don't have them.
Exactly. I mean, the whole idea of me going to a place like Nottingham or England or France at this time, knowing I am not going to be able to defend myself, that just fills me with horror.
Yeah, and even here in Norway, it's illegal to carry a knife, right?
Hmm.
But the people who stab people and do shit illegally, they carry them.
Precisely.
So you're not even allowed to have anything to defend yourself with.
I
I
didn't
mean,
realize that you weren't even allowed to
yeah,
carry a knife. That's ridiculous.
I'm sure you can get away with carrying a pocket knife, but
That won't do you any good. Not a lot. If the other
eh,
person has a Bowie knife or something. I don't know what kind of knives they have over there.
I
Yes.
have I have a friend that has worked as a bouncer for most of his life, and they confiscate stuff sometimes, right?
Hmm.
And he said he had never confiscated a knife from a Norwegian, but he has confiscated. I think he said about 300 knives from you know, immigrants from certain countries.
Yeah.
Over 300. That's a lot.
I was gonna say, considering the location and the population, and
Yeah.
I know that the things that I've been hearing going on in Ireland were unheard of, or if it was like once a decade, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh!" I just hear stories. I hear stories, and it's hard, and I sympathize because I know not everyone voted for it. I sympathize for the people that tried to stop it.
Oh, the people who even try to say, "Hey, this is a problem," they will get, a fine for hate speech, or you know get canceled, what have you. And the people who are canceling and doing all that stuff, that's not the immigrants, that's the liberals.
Yeah,
So the
the illiberals, because technically they're really not liberal, because if
no
they were liberal, they
it's
yeah, I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
yeah, it's like, has there ever been a greater case of shooting the messenger?
Hmm. Not hey, I'm a scholar of history. I can't tell you. And so the Potato Revan, he studies history. Road Warrior, remember, was on Reddit, and people were cheering the burning of Notre Dame Cathedral. Even if you aren't religious, come on, it was a beautiful piece of architecture. Yeah, it
It's
was.
not just that, it's history.
Yeah,
you know uh, Imagine destroying historical monuments in other countries, right? Just for the hell of it.
yeah. I mean, and good point. Not just the architecture, but all the things inside were priceless. It
And it's not just architecture, though. It's also a landmark.
hmm And when Victor Hugo wrote Notre Dame de Notre Dame de Paris. Sorry, I am so sorry, French people. That's the real title of it, is Notre Dame of Paris. It's not called the Hunchback of Notre Dame, because the real protagonist of that story is the Notre Dame Cathedral. And he said about the cathedral, it's like, if you could travel, it's preserving 800 years ago. He didn't use the word time travel because that wasn't in his vocabulary as a man who was writing in 19th or 1830s. But the things that were there, the even the materials that made those works of art, are they don't exist anymore in some cases, the kind of wood that they used. And I remember going to Sunday Mass at Notre Dame Cathedral and just being incredibly feeling the history, the history of the people that built it. And that was back in the day when it would take like 100 years to build something. So you'd build something, you'd never see it. All the people that built it, all the people that worship there, all the historical events, the crownings, Charlotte, not Charlemagne, but I'm thinking, Napoleon. I mean, all of the Holy Roman Empire. And you can't ever get that back. You can't get that back. Thank you. Yes, hit the like button. Potato Reverend says, Potato Reverend, actually, a lot of Europeans want guns, my friend. Actually, A lot of Europeans want guns. My friend called the cops and said, "What can I do to defend myself?" They basically said nothing. So she carries a Hurley when she's walking alone. It's ridiculous. I worry. Yeah, because a woman carrying a Hurley is not going to be able to do jack. And she's going to get overcome immediately. But I guess that's something to make her feel good. Good point, Potato Revan. Because, of course, we don't hear that over here as Americans. We just hear they all think we're insane with our guns and worshiping our guns and all of that stuff.
The United States, I think, is in third or fourth place in the world when it comes to people getting killed by gun violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remove Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and two other cities, the US drops to 289th place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you,
So just five cities puts the US up to third place from 289.
and remember, one of those for sure, Chicago, is a gun-free zone.
Yeah. And the people of Chicago are retarded enough to keep voting for it.
Oh
So
yeah,
the cynic in me is thinking, yeah, they're getting exactly what they wanted.
yeah. That's why when you see people say, "If you can, try to get out of those cities."
Yeah, because we're down to two options really. Either option one, that's what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Option two, they're just too dumb to live. Sorry, but if you keep voting for that shit, after a while you lose the right to complain about it because you've caused it over and over and over again. It's like, how many times can a person make the same mistake over and over again?
Yeah, that's the definition of insanity. Until relatively recently, I never fully grasped what the Lord says. This is saying from the Bible that Jesus says about leaving a town and shaking the dust from your feet, which basically means like, poof, you've got, all right, so be it.
Speaking of people who keep making the same mistake over and over again, Matt Wilkins is in the chat.
Oh, he is. Oh my gosh. Okay, I was just saying hi to anti-derivative Jill, Potato Revan for Steak and all Europeans. I'm scared. Oh.
The trick, Mr. Potato, is to buy a lot of books and just focus on yourself.
Yeah. Well, and technically, you know how to use a gun because of military training. I don't know how to use a gun. I wouldn't.
Point, you know, point the right end towards the target and shoot.
I think I'd still mess that up. But I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, and I say it again. Where I live, it's okay not to have a gun because everyone thinks I have a gun. Revenite FC. Stieg is right. Nigel Farage was anti-immigration in England, and he had his own party, and he is hated to this day. Why, hello. Oh my gosh, look at all the people coming in. Sorry, we started yapping and I missed some of these. Hello. Hi, Miss MM. Hello, Gina Catania. So good to see you. Here he is. Here he is. How the roles have reversed. Stieg is on and I'm not. Okay, and that's what you said about. Gosh, you're so mean. Well, you guys are so mean to each other. I love it.
You should drag him on.
Oh,
so he doesn't, cry.
I can. Sorry, my cat.
Oh, you're that happy about the suggestion?
No.
Just, I like suggest Wilkins be brought on, and you're like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Let me see. How far behind am I? Well, Matt, let me know and I'll send you the link if you're available. We would love to have you on because you know your stuff, and we love Matt Wilkins here.
We wouldn't love having him on. It's charity.
Oh,
it's like taking the kid wearing a helmet to Burger King.
Oh gosh. Okay, you cannot let him get away with that, Matt. See, that's the only time I ever hear you truly laugh with joy is when you say things like that, or when you pull our chains. Dadman Walker says, "Did they mark the specific sectors here at Omaha Beach like Charlie, dog green, dog white, etc.?" I know they did like for history. I mean, like the military, but as far as seeing it, I don't know. The weakest part for me of history is the military aspect. I have been more my scholarship is the social and the political. So I would need to have someone that knows a little more military history than I. Look, everyone is having so much fun. Everyone loves Matt Wilkins. Uh,
Also, notice that nobody minds it when I insult them.
oh. Potato Ribbon says they put a new European in a house around the corner from me. He called the cops and fire brigade on himself, and you can hear him screaming, shouting. He walks around with an empty wheelchair talking to himself. My goodness. Laugh out loud. Stieg fires first.
Yeah,
Uh,
usually I don't because he's pretty damn quick. He'll sneak in and his first comment is an insult,
mm,
right?
okay. I'd love to join, but work tomorrow would forbid me staying up much later. Thank you so much for the invite, though. Oh, yeah, no problem. Like I said, just passed it along, and I do appreciate you. And it was nice. It was Stieg. You see, Stieg hides his true feelings. You know how being mean. You've really got a bromance going on, don't you?
Well, I get that Wilkins has to get up early because there's all the sailors are coming into port tomorrow and Wilkins works at the docks.
That's not true. I don't even know if there's docks where he lives for crying out loud.
I don't know. I'm not being factual.
Oh, no, okay. Well, and lack of sleep can also do with having 5,000 children under the age of 5. Potato Ribbon says, I'm looking to buying a sword. My friend has recently bought a Shoto blade for Zabuku. It's in her hip. It's sad she had to get this for her own safety. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, I'll just start judging people right now. Get out of Dublin. Everything I hear about Dublin is just insane. And I know they're trying to export it into other places, but I've seen some of the people standing up. Speaking of which, Grand Parade, where's my Marizzi? Oh my gosh, what's his name? Elysium. When I need him, I need a Corkman. But a lot of stuff's been going down on Grand Parade. Feeding little one right now, aw, and enjoying the conversation. Yeah, well, things are deep tonight because we're looking at Normandy and what they sacrificed. And my grandfather was there, not on the exact date, but it was just as bad, and it was raging fighting, and all the people that gave their lives. And you want to talk about some kumbaya stuff? You know how they always say today, "We are one world," and all this. Remember, it was how many nations were represented that day on D-Day and after in the Allies? Dadman walking. I was wondering if they had a signage on the fields marking where the specific. Oh, no, I don't think so. They really kept it pristine. There was nothing like that.
How old are Wilkins' youngest kids now? 2 years old or one?
They're a little past 1, yes. Because
Yeah,
remember, they were the magic children.
yeah. It was like a number thing happening.
Yeah, they were the second set of twins born on 2/2/22.
Yeah, yeah. That's he should have gone to Vegas that day.
I was gonna say you should have gone to Vegas and bought a lottery ticket. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, Wilkin,
all,
Matt,
all
hear
of
me.
it.
Yeah, all of it. Take those kids to a gas station and say, "Here, choose a number, kid."
Yeah.
We. Oh, look. Road Warrior says we know those insults come from a place of love. Potato Reverend says he is asleep. It's 6 a.m. Left on sleep is for the weak and comes. and commies. Oh, Sweepquist for the week and commies. Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Potato Reverend's in the future too. You're not on the same. I think. Let me look at my international
I'm
clock.
I'm an hour ahead of him.
Yeah. So it's early for it's earlier. It's early for both of you, but earlier for the Corkman. Oh wait, you're not from Cork. I'm so sorry, water. I'm so sorry, Potato Revan. I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah, I saw how much you liked the little picture I made of Saint Finbar and Oron. Yes, and you're 7 o'clock in the morning. Dang, Steek. But I
Yeah.
have the Irish time down as Cork. So yeah, yeah. Oh, you're saying it's 6 a.m. No one for. See, maybe I'm getting tired because it's like you said it right here. It's 6 a.m. I actually read that. But Dad Manwalker says, intriguing, no signing, a bit different at the battlefields here where there are some marking signs explain where you are and what went on. True, yes. And I think it depends. It depends. But it's like that French sign said. It's like that this they consider all of this a cemetery. But here's the view from the top. This is take me a very long way to time to get to this point, but you can see on this again some perspective. Look at these steps, to get up to the top. We were very lucky and blessed we had steps. The other ones were not so lucky. And you can see the beach far away and to the left, the start of the cemetery. Copacabana is here and I am filming it. Yes, sir, I am. Yes, precious. The solfege is coming. It's happening. It's gonna happen. For close encounters, so you too can talk to the aliens when they come and know what the Frenchman and the alien really said to each other. Okay, this is also looking down. Oh, that's something too, is that it wound around this path. Oh, wrong button. How is it for wheelchairs and crutchers like myself? It is accessible, but you can't obviously go down this way. So it's accessible on the top. I would recommend using a wheelchair, even if you do use crutches, and then you would have to drive or be transported down to the beach. There's no way to go through there. As you can see, there's steps. But as I said earlier, because of the height of the terrorism threats, the last I heard that this was closed to the public. So everyone has to go the other way. Copa, laugh out loud. I hope Francis Truffaut said baguette to the aliens. No. You'll have to see the video. I mean, obviously they were communicating in solfege, and it was a greeting question. It was a question and an answer. Well, never mind. You'll see. You'll have to see it in the video. You'll see it. But his solfege is a little bit off. Let me just put it to you that way. A little off topic, but they purposely chose younger men to storm Normandy due to the immortality complex younger people have. They can't just imagine themselves dying, so they're more likely to charge. Yeah, and younger people, yeah, they'll have a higher possibility for several reasons of surviving. Yeah, it's not. You're not going to sit there and argue with your superior officer. Yes, I'm glad you're excited. Yeah, don't blow it for me. I can't wait for the video. Yeah. I hope you don't get disappointed.
No, younger people will be more prone to, wanting to be a hero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point, I don't want to be a hero. It's like, screw it.
I just want to be the grumpy bastard at the bait shop telling the kids that, don't go up there, the place haunted.
Damn right. Oh, I should send you a picture, Seek. I actually have one of me and my friend having croissants in Normandy, and so yeah, that's where he would have been sitting during the battle. This is amazing scenery. It is. France is a gorgeous country, and for goodness sake, French, get some grow a pair. True story though, my grandfather wasn't very happy with the French. He really wasn't. And he was very bitter that when they did the big parade, that Charles de Gaulle and all them were sitting going like, "Yay, we did it, we did it," and he was sitting there going, "No, you didn't. That's why I'm here." Uh, but all right, America broke the Japanese soldiers when they saw that America had a ship full of ice cream and the Japanese were starving for basic food and water. And Admiral wrote that that was when he knew they lost. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, in a total different situation over there, in different culture and all sorts of stuff. Oh my gosh, Sheik is a Scooby Doo villain confirmed. Yeah. I don't know if he's a Scooby Doo villain. I think he's just a plain villain. Look at that. Look at that view. So here you can see over and that is that harbor kind of thing I was telling y'all about that we couldn't go to. You can see it there. Coming out here. And if you do go there, Dadman Walking, they have a visitor center, and that's where you can get like all the history and the. I think they even have like little guided tour things. Back in the day, you used to get like a cassette and listen to it and put it to your ear. Nowadays, I think they have links for you. I don't know. We can get all of that background. I like this picture because this really shows how steep it truly is. This is a good perspective. And those trees. Let me see who's that.
Yeah, imagine heading up there under fire, carrying all the equipment you have to carry as a soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And probably soaking wet from having been in the ocean as well.
Mm-hmm. There was a story where a submarine commander had his guys go steal the ice cream machine off a surface vessel. The sub pulled out of port before the MPs could find them to reclaim the machine. Yeah. You don't mess with an ice cream machine.
Oh, that's a cold crime.
Oh.
They must have had ice in their stomachs.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Road Warrior also is not happy with him. De Gaulle and Montgomery are despised. So many people died just for their egos. Yeah. And of course, my grandfather did meet a lot of French people he did like. I think he didn't like the leaders and how they basically were taking a bow for things they didn't do. He was really pissed. Got to have some comfort on a submarine. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, ice cream. Oh, gee whiz, ice cream. That's. Oh, I think that's the same picture from earlier, or maybe it's a different, closer up. You can see.
Yeah, it shows more of the stairs.
Yeah, and you can see it coming around. Okay. Mm-hmm. Distant perspective helps. It's very far away. Oh, here is the memorial. You can see the more of the crosses and the graves, and there was this. I know there's a name for that kind of a pool. They often have them at memorials. I just can't remember it right now. Shadowrun says the Americans screwed up. They gave them a very heavy meal on the warships, like their last meal, which led to seasickness and diarrhea. And they were fatigued when they hit the ocean. They drowned too tired. Some did too tired to swim. Yeah. Many of them did drown, and they got seasick. Mm-hmm. Mirror, thank you, Mirror Pool. Thank you, Potato Revan. Dadman Walking. Did they explain whether those trees were around 1804 or many times the battlefields we know may have looked different now? There was nothing there that for me to read. I'm sure maybe there was some material we just didn't have it. I'm positive it didn't look exactly like that. Um, Here's another perspective. I like this shot a lot because you have the big old American flag there overlooking the dead. And don't get us started also, well, what we were talking about, the respect or lack thereof for our American flag nowadays. More of
Well,
the
you have a generation that has grown up never being taught how to show respect.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are some positives though. If you've I was recently at a high school graduation and they have a JROTC program and the respect, of course, that they had for the flag. And in America, oh, sorry, in Texas, Texas is the only place in America where the flag of the United States and the flag of Texas, the state flag, is at the same level being displayed because Texas was once a republic. So you will see the Texas flag and the American flag side by side. However, the American flag still has a bit of a higher thing because when the national anthem was sung, the the kid dipped down the Texas flag. So some kids are learning, but I will grant you the point, Steek. The generation, no, not the majority. God bless all of them, every last one. You are correct. God bless them. Oh, Reflection Pool. There's a cool run at Corinth that marks major battles during the Civil War. Right. Mm-hmm. I've heard of that. Yeah. I'm sure the Germans said the road warrior went scorched earth there to not allow troops any cover. Well, and just the fighting alone would have blown them all away. Soda Reverend says Irish culture teaches us after things like D-Day and wars and battles, don't look in the trees as trees and mountains remember. I love that wisdom. Stieg says, I'm sorry, the road warrior is saying to Stieg, not only not be taught respect, but actively teaching this something to be despised. True. Gosh, it's disgusting.
Yeah, this is where parents have failed because they should have come down hard on those teachers. They didn't because it wasn't convenient.
Or they weren't even paying attention. And I have said it once, I have said it twice. If you got a kid in school, any school, don't be thinking because you send your kid to a Christian school or a Catholic school or even a non-denominational or even a non-religious private school. Don't think you can just ignore what's going on in their schools.
Well,
Find out what's going on in your kid's school.
this is the same parents though that have let the kids use the PlayStation as a babysitter for most of their lives.
True.
They,
And they wonder why they're psychos.
They don't pay attention whatsoever.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, and it just burns me like you wouldn't believe it when people say, get your kids out of public schools. And they're right about public schools, but they're idiots if they think it's okay at a private school. Idiots. It's everywhere. And a school is not a surrogate parent. And if that's the way you think about the school, then you are the problem.
Well, it's made the teachers think that too. So
not all. I mean, because
yeah, because the teachers are using history class to teach kids about how to do oral sex and shit.
Yeah, and because the parents don't paying attention, they let them. And the fact that, well, I could go another discussion for another day about how education works nowadays.
Or rather, how it doesn't work.
how it doesn't work, how teachers are selected, how teachers are chosen, what happens, the politics within the schools. And when you say teachers, of course, because present companies accepted.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the new generation of teachers.
hmm And you'll find a few people that think, oh, I'll change it, that are good. There's a reason why everyone's just said, fuck it, and have quit. The bad part, or maybe the good part about that, is that means that all of the good teachers are gone. So maybe things will hit rock bottom faster, but just everything, just mind what's going on. If
Oh,
I,
I'm pretty sure rock bottom has already happened.
yeah, which is why all the teachers are fleeing. Um, it's a mess. It's a mess. If I had children, I would homeschool them. I don't care what it would take. I would homeschool them. And that would break my heart because I got a lot of experiences from going to I went to public school when I came to America, because I wouldn't have had the same opportunities with the music, by playing in that superior orchestra and all of those experiences that you really can't give a kid that's homeschooled. You can't give them 100-piece orchestra to go play, go tour with. But if it's at the cost of your kid's soul or even their life, do what it takes to protect your child. Potato Reverend says in Ireland, they replaced the tricolor with the. Oh my gosh. In Ireland, they replaced the tricolor with the pride flag at a war. The Irish burned the flag and it was replaced, so the townsfolk burned the flagpole, and then they stole the flagpole, found it in. You see, I told you the Irish are getting their Irish up. Good for you. We're fighting back. We are the counterculture. Yeah. Well done, Ireland. And I see, a few months ago, was it about, I forget what the name of the town, Potato Revan, they were trying to ship a bunch of guests to a little town in Ireland, because Dublin apparently is filling up, and the whole town like met them and didn't let them come in. Like they just weren't having it. Red Road Warrior. Half of school is creating social connections, and it's sad that political forces are running that. Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a little secret. And I think Stieg, I know Stieg, you're right. It's not just been the last 10 years. It's been happening for a long time.
Definitely since the late '90s, but it has escalated though.
Yes. Yeah. And I again think social media has a part of that. Let's see. Oh, I think we did already show that one. Oh, I think is that it? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's from my Soulfish thing. Yeah. So Copa Catania, if you're still here, it is happening. It just took a very long time to make because I couldn't figure out a way to put it into a video. Potato Ribbon says, at it's at a stage now that the government will house the guests in offshore barges. Whew. I guess okay. That's better than the alternative, but that also means you're paying for it, aren't you? And the fact that Ireland is experiencing a housing crisis, I don't know how I when I was I'm speechless. Last time I was there was 2019, because I haven't been able to be back because all those stupid COVID stuff, and now that it's open and there's other things going on. But in Douglas, where I went to school, a tiny little 1 room, 2-3 room house cottage attached along Douglas Road there, at the bottom of the hill, with like a bedroom, a bathroom, and a small living room, was 350,000 euros. And I remember going, what the that, I don't know what that would buy in Norway, but even that would buy you like basically a mansion here. And for just a tiny little house, that's how bad the housing crisis was. And I'm sure you know far more than I, and that people just can't find places to live, or they have to like go out to the country and then commute to their job. And I know that you're having guests, Steve, in your country.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, we are. I mean,
Well, in my area though, a lot of the guests have fully integrated, and they're working and they're very productive members of society. But it has a lot to do with which country the guests are coming from, because some guests are not good guests, and it seems to be a pattern. But I've seen a lot of so in my area there's a lot of people from Iran,
mhm,
and they're very good guests.
mhm.
But if you have people from often from Somalia tend to not behave well.
Mm.
They're very stabby.
And those are the ones that tend to not come with families either. It's like, wow, look at all these refugees that are 22-year-old men who look quite healthy. Potato Ribbon, they recently gave 350 families of them module homes worth 145K each at a cost of 2 million for all the homes. Not one is for the Irish. They turned away a pregnant teen from a fruit center because of it. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I've said before, though, it's exactly what they voted for. People need to stop voting for the shits doing this.
Yeah. So help me out, Potato Revan in Ireland. I mean, I've heard Fianna Gael. Well, Fianna Gael is Fianna Gael. Sinn Fein has lost their minds. I'm assuming Fianna Fáil is. What do you all have over there? What's your opposition party now? Because everything I've been able to see is, and the Taoiseach. I mean, he's a feckin' Egypt. And what's going on in the Doyle over there? Help me out. The Road Warrior says, here in the States, we have a similar problem. It's military age men coming in on their own. That's the problem. Families and tend to be more able to fit in. Yeah. And where I am located, you want to talk about being overrun. Because, since the open borders, and it is, it's, I won't, I don't want to get stabbed myself, but a certain gang that we all know, and something that rhymes with martels and the trafficking, uh, and even people, they'll pose as families. They do something called recycling, where the mothers will like sell their children to pretend to be like kids of a family, and then once they get in, they'll fly the kid back to the mother, and then they do it again. It's like a horrible thing, and a horrible thing to do your own children. And of course, a lot of these children and teens do not have a happy time with it, if you know what I mean. It's horrendous, and I have never seen so many signs everywhere saying, if you are being trafficked, please, call this number, or please do this, please do that. And it's like it and the fentanyl and the drugs, and they just keep that border wide open, and it is flooding our public schools. You want to talk about flooding the services, and I don't know. Potato Room says, we didn't vote for this at all. Fianna Gael, Fianna Fáil, and Greens got a coalition and took power. Oh. Okay, good
Yeah,
point. Good point, Steeg. Okay, I didn't realize. He says, I don't mean to sound like I'm not trying to fight you, Steeg, but
No, no,
women
no.
didn't vote
It,
for it.
I know, but enough people voted for the parties that made the coalition, though, and shit like this has happened in Norway too.
Yeah. But that's a good point. Stupid Fianna Gael got a coalition. You see, the parliamentary system, I think, is in many ways awesome, but because of crap like this,
Yeah, it's basically you basically vote for a party so that the party will have the most say in a coalition being formed.
hmm,
It's yeah.
yeah.
You're basically the votes are you're making sure one party has the best poker hand that they can have, and that's really it. And with the coalition forming that they tend to do, effectively, it actually makes voting kind of pointless.
Oosh, it can. Yeah. Oh, no, I'll speak for you, Steve, a little bit. It's like, no, I, and I can say this about all my guests here at Miss Smart Muses. We never have a problem with people questioning or challenging or even contradicting.
No,
No, it's done in good faith and it's information I didn't know about. Because I was sitting here saying, "Yeah, I agree," and then I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Yeah, so Steve, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to make that clear that at Miss Martin Muses, it is perfectly okay to do so. I only put my foot down when insults come with it.
oh, I certainly don't mind either.
Hmm. Yeah, because this is how we learn. This is how we dialogue, and I feel your frustration, Potato Revan, because I've said that too. It's like I didn't vote for this. First of all, in Texas, we didn't, and we're doing our damnedest to keep it that way. It's incredibly frustrating. And oh, thank you so much, Admin Walking. Thanks for sharing the pictures and being a mod too. Haha, lol. Oh, hey, no, I mean, yeah. You and your wife are. I'm enjoying a lot of your trips because right now I really can't go to any Civil War battlefields. Maybe some other time, maybe sometimes in the future. Everyone's saying good night. Passport. I'm not sure what's anything. Potato Ribbon says Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil are the same. They ruined Ireland. Oh, fuckers. Greens are far left. Oh fuck. Okay.
Oh yeah, we were having trouble with Green Party as well.
Okay. Sinn Fein are uber far left. Yeah, I mean that's what I was like, man, what happened to Sinn Fein? I mean, I'm not entirely saying I was a fan of them, but what? Yes, Sinn Fein are uber far left, knelt to BLM and called Ireland racist. People before profit are communists. We have oh, you're welcome for the kind words and good night. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay, yeah. I remember though when I was in Cork, because I love Cork. But there was some stuff kind of fighting back against it. They had some independent radio that they were advertising a lot, and I got to talk to people in the shops. And like, this was when Trump was still president, and they were kind of feeling out. It's like, so, Trump, and it's like, well, yeah, and then and I forget what I would say, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank God, okay, we actually think he's not so bad or something." But they're afraid because you just don't know. You can't have free speech. It's like you don't know if someone's going to beat you up or burn down your shop. Nobody here. Okay, Potato Reverend says nobody. There is no patriot or conservative right wing party here at all. We have nobody, any party, even a little conservatives, are all legit racist. I don't. Oh, I don't know what to do. My heart's broken. My vote doesn't count. Yeah. Well, I was following all of the votes, and I won't say too much in particular, but one really tore me to shreds. And I was like, what happened to Ireland? Oh, I did it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm an American. I suck. I have the phonemes or whatever. Ireland. I hope that was better. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, because we're despairing over here because as Americans in the church here, we were so many people like look to Ireland like the faith of their fathers kind of a thing, and we're like, what happened? What do you do when they collapse? But I think it was all planned, Potato Revan. I remember when in the early 90s, people were warning in Ireland that this joining the EU was a bad idea. And the EU at the time were fecking liars. They were like, "Oh, we're not going to try to interfere with, Irish culture or this or that. We won't touch this." And what did they do? Boom, the second they got in, they started doing it. Road Warrior says, I love this discussion. Even though we kind of strayed from just the history of World War II, I think there are important points because they sacrificed so we could be here now. Precisely. And, we have been through all the pictures. And I often go for a free for all, but it is related. It is related. My grandfather, he died right after Barack Obama was elected. And he just was like, dang it, what the heck? And of course, everyone would say, oh, you don't like him because he's black. It's like, no, it was like, what the hell happened to America?
Well, he's not even black; he's half black.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying is everyone's like, oh, of course the old man, and it's like, no. And I remember warning people. It's like, listen to what this man is saying. And there was enough opposition back then because this brainwashed generation wasn't yet old enough to vote. So they just bode their time. Or bade their time, is that what you would say? Potato Reverend says, that's ground level, Miss Martin. Nothing in government. They are trying to bring in hate speech laws. The main media will only show people as anti-Trump. The government is turned on the church and is pro-LGBT. Oh yeah,
The pro LGBTQ thing though is starting to backfire royally. That pendulum is starting to swing back.
Yeah. Oh, but
It's
hopefully.
it's swinging back from within that community too, because they are the L, the G, and the B are
Pissed.
starting a war against the Q and the T.
Yeah. And rightly so. Because
the Q and the T is the problem.
Yeah.
Not the other letters.
Yeah.
And the Q and the T is trying to add a P.
Mm-hmm. But they try to call it M. Ugh.
Yeah.
Pervs. But and as far as that goes, it had to be the L's, the B's, and the G's to do it. Like I couldn't do it. It had to come from within their community, and I'm glad they're finally standing up. Leo, I can't say his last name, but I know that I cannot even begin to tell you what I think about that man. Said there is no Irish culture, and the tricolor is racist to non-Irish and shouldn't be flown. They teach in some schools Ukrainian and have their flags on the gates. Ireland has fallen. New definition of oh yeah, I'll get to that point. Yes, yeah. How the hell can you say that the tricolor is racist? It's the very point. If you know anything, if they know anything about Irish history, that is just such an ignorant thing to say. And I have been hearing that they don't want people to be teaching Irish in schools, or that they've started to drop the Irish requirement, the Irish language requirement for jobs and stuff. And I'm like, fuck that, because they're saying that all the people coming in don't speak Irish. And speaking as someone that sucks at Irish, I'm like, it's the Irish language, it's their language, it's your language. and that's why I think we've been seeing some of these little rebellions where everyone's starting to speak Irish more. But yeah, it that pisses me off. I mean, how could any Irishman say that about his own culture is just so foreign to me. And I'm
That
sure it's more
any
foreign to you.
any Irishman who says that should lose his citizenship.
Yeah. I wish. I mean, especially Irish culture, my ass. Anyone that knows what the Irish went through to get to where they were. Yeah. And I know it's far worse for you, Potato Revan, because it's your country. I'm seeing this from the outside and just as a gal who, because my first memories were really of Ireland. I have a few memories before I moved there, but it's a part of my heart. I used to go back every single year if I could. Hello, Potato Dempsey. Yeah, we're getting serious here. Irish language requirement is gone completely. Only in film, some schools, Irish is optional. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's it. I'm going to the Gael talks. I want to learn Irish because remember I told you I want to rev up that Irish that's still in my brain, even though I'm American. I won't do any good, but we got to keep that alive. Got to keep it alive. Um, go out to go out to Dingle. Though I don't think there is a school in Dingle there that I know of, and there's one up in Donegal. But I digress. Thank you, Dempsey. Yes, we're talking about Ireland, but you see, but what's happening in Ireland is happening in Norway, is happening in America, is happening everywhere. But here's the thing. I mean, well, see, you've got a relatively small country. Ireland is really a small country. I mean, there's nowhere to go. It's a little island.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, love me some Gaelic. Well, a beautiful language to ears, in my humble opinion. Oh, well, thank you. Gaeliga. Yeah, me and Potato Revan, when he was on the stream, we sat and said all the things we would beg the teacher usually was, "Can I please go to the toilet?" And the teacher yelling at us, what, a stock or a mock when we wouldn't close the door. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful language. I think I have a video still on my channel somewhere. I need to put all my Teresa travels in one place where when I did record some of being in Irish, Mass in Irish. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah, we're all going to meet up. Maybe you didn't know this. Somehow we're all going to meet up in Dublin. And the only reason we're meeting in Dublin is because that's where the daggone airport is. I guess we could protest and meet in Shannon. And then we'll swing by and pick up Potato Revan. And show you this beautiful country. Potato Revan says there is actually a lot of Gael talk schools around Ireland outside of the Gael talk areas, and an Irish language movie won an Oscar. What's the name of the movie? No way. That wasn't the Banshees movie. That wasn't Irish language. It must have been another one. I thought I have Pete. Yeah, we were saying this earlier, but I know what you mean from me phone. Yeah. And you can't just say Dún an Doras. That means close the door. You have to hear it the way the teacher would just scream it at you. Do it! Or Duskull and Nino, close the window. Because we were kids. And my personal favorite, shoot us. Or Sigshias. Sit down, be quiet. I will link your Twitter. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'll send you some more things about St. Finbar. I was mean. I trolled him so bad. He woke up to my blasphemies. Yeah, we're having a saint competition, and ours is better than his. The movie is Quiet Girl. It's all in Irish, really. Interesting. Well, you know what's wild? I think I've told you before.
I guess since it's all in Irish, it wasn't that quiet. Spoiler.
Oh, it's wild. I mean, I want someone to study my brain because it is weird that when I hear Irish and when I'm immersed in it, it's like I can kind of get it. It's like my brain starts to go weird. It's like I think I understand that, but I don't know why, how, when, or whatever. It's really wild, and I'm sure that it's a language thing. Um, like that, all little children maybe experience that, like that maybe they heard a language when they were little, so they have some. Like I have a friend who was a little girl in the Philippines, and she has experience with the language. Okay, we're getting into language here. One of these days, we're going to have a language. We're going to have an ESL, not English, ESL because that's English as a second language, but thing. I know that Timon Flip is really eager, and I'm eager to have him do it. And maybe you, Potato Revan, if you can find it. And then we'd have to have an extra one. We'd have to bring Elysium on to be the Irish, to be the Cork Irish representative. Cork Irish really is different than the dialect. I think is different. Um, bringing someone that speaks Spanish. I don't know. Well, that's not too hard for me, but I don't know anyone that would want to be on the stream. But I'm digressing. I'm starting to digress. I'm starting to get tired. It's nearly 1 a.m. You all are getting up. I'm going to bed. So I am going to end this party. Thank you so much, everyone that's been here. Potato Revan, Road Warrior. I think you've been here the whole time. We had Dad Man Walking. We had a whole bunch of people coming in and out. If I missed anyone, it is not intentional. Sometimes these things jump. Catania. Matt Wilkins, of course. He popped in and got some insults off. We always do enjoy those. So, thank you. I'll see you all in space. Oh, Potato Run says, Miss Martin's brain. I understand if they are speaking Irish. Sheik says, no, they aren't. She says, yes. Yes, they are. I'm telling you. They are telling you they are speaking Dutch. Actually, sure, I'm speaking. Oh, dear. German. Actually, I'm speaking German. Road Warrior. English is a bastard of 100 different languages, so I get what you mean. Triple M. There are certain words that intuitively you pick up on. Yeah. Well, but I mean, it's also because I was surrounded with it as a kid, but surrounded in a different kind of way than it is today. Just like school culture was all about speaking Irish, but like commands and songs and prayers and poetry. We did a lot of poetry. So it's like I know it, but I don't know it. But for subject for another time. All right. Thank you, Steve, as always. I think your next stream you're going to be on is me again. We're going to be doing Magician Master on Saturday.
Yeah, sounds right.
Don't do that. No, he hates my cat. He really truly hates my cat. Good night, Gomez. He doesn't like her one little bit. Always fun. Love these streams. Thank you. And Steve makes me laugh. Look at you, bringing love and joy. I think you might be on Mara, right? Or did you already say that? Next week?
I'm not sure which week it is.
Okay, stay tuned for Mara. And me, Mara, and Steve will be doing our D&D one. It's just a matter of finding a time when we can all get together and do it. And I'm going to be doing my next pub crawl Friday night. It's going to be Friday because Captain America, I was on his channel early this evening. He is not available till Friday evening. So you will see him, and he's going to be talking about being a graphic designer. And next week, you're going to have John Trent from Bounding into Comics will be my guest. Lorena Creole amazing woman. If you don't follow her, and if you want to, she hasn't told me what her topic is yet, but I'm really hoping I have it in my head what I want her to choose, because that lady knows so much about her own culture and ancestry and all that. Lorena Creole, we're gonna have Biggles, we're gonna have Nina Infinity has nabbed a time, and the schedule is filling up. I am really grateful that everyone seems to be enjoying it, and of course, I love these book clubs. Streams. It's going to be coming to an end with an even 10, almost 2 years to the day. It looks like the way the schedule's coming out, but we've been doing it for 2 years every Saturday. We're ready to take some days off. Um, I have my Raymond Feist biography will be out tomorrow. Probably a strawberry shortcake cooking video. My mother made it for my birthday, so we all enjoyed that. And and my closing counters solfege thing. I'm going to explain what was going on and why the French guy sucked. So that's it. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to stand up for what you believe in.